Hello everybody and welcome back to another Mr. Farney biology video. In this video we're going to look at the different macromolecules that are in play, the big three, and then the addition of a fourth one that we're not necessarily going to cover in this specific biochemistry lab that we're working on in class, mainly because we're going to spend a lot of time working with this fourth macromolecule throughout the course of the year in other units. Okay, so that being said, let's get right into the nitty gritty. Here are the four macromolecules that are in play. We have carbohydrates that we are very familiar with at this point. Carbohydrates, those are made of our monosaccharides. Okay, those are the monomers that make up the carbohydrates. But you will find out as you work through the biochemistry lab, there are two other main ones that we're going to kind of focus on in the lab. Those are your lipids and those are your proteins. Each play a very important role in maintaining our cell structure and function. And then we have our fourth one on the slide picture here labeled number 3. We have nucleic acids. Okay, nucleic acids are what allow us to create our DNA and our RNA and code for all the genetic material that makes you, and you different from somebody else. So we're going to kind of spend a minute or two on each of these, breaking down some information about what are they made out of, maybe some common uses that are found within each of these different macromolecules. So starting with carbohydrates, these guys, okay, we all like a good carb, we like some good sugars, we like some good breads, okay, all that fun stuff. The common elements found in carbohydrates are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And your basic sugar and all those sugar monosaccharides that we looked at the lab, okay, you guys will have noticed that each of them, even though between glucose and fructose and galactose, okay, each of those three different monosaccharides, okay, even though they have different names and different kind of overall shape and structure, they all have the same chemical formula, the C6H12O6s, okay? So again, monomer, what's the monomer? What is it made out of? What are the individual building blocks of carbohydrates? Monosaccharides, C6H12O6. Okay, and then we get the different monosaccharides depending how the orientation and the formation of those elements come into play. Carbohydrates within our bodies, very, very useful for short-term energy storage because they're very easily broken down. All I really need to do to break apart and release energy that's found within my carbohydrates, okay, essentially, what's going on with hydrolysis? How do I break one of these larger sugars apart? I got to add water. Just add water. Okay, it's just that simple. If I want to get energy out of this inside of my body, I add water, it breaks apart, okay, the larger carbohydrates, and that breaking releases the energy. Okay, that process really breaks, okay, releases the energy that I need to sustain myself, to kind of help fuel certain processes in my mitochondria to give me that energy. Okay, mitochondria is going to prioritize those easily broken down carbohydrates, okay, to help fuel the different mechanisms inside of that organelle to create the energy. So carbohydrates, short-term energy storage, okay, and it's also used as part of the cell membranes. Okay, the larger carbohydrate chains allow for to be some part of the construction of our cell membranes. So again, carbohydrates, bam, that's the first macromolecule. Then we get to the lipids. We get to the fats. Okay, slightly different. Okay, in that, hey, look, I'm using the same elements, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And you might say to yourself, well, Mr. Farney, if it's using the same elements, okay, why is this not a sugar? Okay, well, it's not a sugar because the monomer, the building block that we are using, it's different compared to that of our carbohydrate. Carbohydrates, we use different types of monosaccharides and things like that. Okay, in lipids, we're using different types of fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, that's another monomer that we can use, okay, in the creation of the lipid macromolecule. Now, difference between carbohydrates, okay, if you look at the lipids structurally, okay, lipids generally are used for kind of long-term energy storage. Okay, it's used for structural components within our cell. That little picture there in kind of the middle portion here, that's called a phospholipid bilayer. Okay, so lipids help to maintain the phospholipid bilayer, which helps protect the inside of the cells or the intracellular area, okay, from anything that's going on outside of the cell. It also, a healthy phospholipid bilayer allows for different materials to move into the cell and move out of the cell. So, besides long-term energy storage, different lipids, okay, allow for kind of an increased structural integrity of what's going on in kind of like that protective shell of our cell. We're going to get way more into that when we go into the cell unit. Next one, nucleic acids, genetic information. Okay? A lot of different things that nucleic acids do. Okay? This is where we get to our first macromolecule, though, that's going to introduce different elements, okay, that we're not seeing in carbohydrates or in lipids. We're still going to have our carbons and our hydrogens and our oxygens, but we're also going to be introducing nitrogen and phosphorus into this equation. So not only do we have elements like our carbon and our hydrogen and our oxygen that we can get from different carbohydrates and fats, okay, but nitrogen and phosphorus, those are different elements that we're going to need to get from different sources. And both nitrogen and phosphorus play a very important role in helping to repair and maintain the overall structure of our genetic material. Okay, again, we're going to go more into nucleic acids, okay, our DNA, okay, our deoxyribonucleic acids. Okay, we just have to know right now that it's made out of a phosphate, okay, phosphorus. It's made out of some sort of sugar, and it's made out of some nitrogen base. So we are combining nitrogen and a phosphate group and a sugar together to create our genetic material. Okay. More specifically, okay, the monomer for this is called a nucleotide. Okay. On the right-hand side there, we have various nucleotides or nuclear bases that are in play. Okay, we have cytosine, we have guanine, we have adenine, we have thymine, okay, and then uracil is in play too for RNA. Again, we'll get more into the specifics of those different nucleotides, okay, and how they construct our RNA and our DNA later on in a different unit. Okay, all you have to know right now, what is a nucleic acid? Okay, it is a macromolecule that stores and transmits genetic material. Its monomer or its building block is a nucleic acid. Nitrogen and phosphorus play a role in maintaining the structure of our genetic material. Last without least, we get to the proteins. We get to the building blocks of the muscle. Okay? Again, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, that's involved here in proteins. Also, like in our DNA, nitrogen is an element that comes into play here, but then we also have the addition of sulfur. Okay, sulfur is an element that we haven't discussed yet as part of being a macromolecule, but sulfur, okay, allows us to kind of help maintain the overall structure of this specific macromolecule. The monomer here, amino acids, okay, amino acids, those are the building blocks of proteins, and those amino acids, they are coded or they're created by our DNA. DNA, okay, it'll send a message to our ribosomes to say, hey, ribosomes, okay, this is the amino acid I want you to create, and then long chains of amino acids help to make proteins. So amino acid is my monomer, it's my individual building block. If I take several amino acids and I put them together and I string them together, that's going to make my protein. And proteins have such a wide variety of uses. When we think of protein, the majority of people immediately will probably go to, oh, I want to use protein to be stronger. If I exercise a lot, it helps with my muscles, but it does way, way more things than just muscle creation in the body. It helps to break down molecules. It allows to help in storing and transporting different nutrients. Proteins play a very important role in maintaining the health of our DNA and making sure mutations don't occur that could lead to different types of cancers. So, well beyond just the usual, I want to build some muscle. I want to lift some weights or do some exercise to get stronger and build some muscle. At the cellular level, proteins play a wide variety of different roles in maintaining that cellular health. Okay. Now, the last thing that we want to kind of also talk about that's in play within the macromolecules is this idea of what an enzyme is. Okay, an enzyme is a specific molecule, okay, whose role within the cell, its niche within the cell, is that it helps to speed up chemical reactions by lowering how much energy is needed to make that reaction occur. You might have heard the word enzymes before, and enzymes are a good thing. Okay? Okay? They allow the cell to function, okay, and it allows different chemical reactions to occur with less energy involved. Okay? Enzymes help to regulate cell function and a myriad of different things inside of cells, whether it's breaking down material, whether it's helping move things around within a cell. There's different enzymes in different parts of your body, all working together and to keep everything kind of in unison. If you want to learn a little bit more about enzymes and what they are, again, there's this nice little video that's embedded here in the slides. It's 1 minute and 20 seconds, breaks down a little bit more specifically what is an enzyme, how does it work, okay, what's the structure of it look like. I ask that you take a look at that on your own and bring any questions you might have with you to class and we can talk about it as a group. Okay? So that's going to go ahead and end this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, please reach out and we'll talk again soon. Okay, bye-bye.